I think after this year, Kevin Durant no longer gives a crap about winning an NBA championship. Let's just keep it 100 here. Kevin Durant does not care about winning NBA championships after this year. You know what he cares about after this year? He cares about his money. See, this man is sick of taking pay cuts to stay with the Golden State Warriors to win championships. Taking these 2-year deals with the second year being a player option so he can opt out, let the Warriors do whatever they have to do financially and just take whatever he can get after that. He's not about to be about that life after this season, as KD has his eyes set on one of those nice super max contracts that he sees all of these other stars getting over the past few years. That's what he wants, and he even admitted it yesterday when he said, I'm not even thinking about none of that. I'm thinking about the money I'm going to get. I never got the massive deal. I just seen a bunch of dudes around the league making so much money and I'm happy for them, but I know that I deserve that too. That's the only thing I'm probably thinking about, to be honest. Now, I gotta say that I really do appreciate Kevin Durant not giving us that cliche cookie cutter response that all the other stars give when they're asked about their upcoming free agency. When they say, I'm not even thinking about that right now. I'm not even trying to think about none of that. I'm just trying to be here and help my team win a championship. That's where my mind is at. Why are you lying? You know good and well you're thinking about the hundreds of $millions that you're about to land this offseason. What human wouldn't be thinking about the hundreds of $millions they're about to land? Thank you, Kevin Durant, for keeping it real here. That being said, Kevin Durant is definitely leaving the Golden State Warriors after this year. That's 100% sure. Do you guys remember after the first game of the season when the Warriors beat the Thunder, and after the game Kevin Durant posted a picture that said 1 down, 81 more to go, what a night, or something along those lines, and then Kevin Durant's brother left a comment under that picture saying, yes sir brother, filling up the hand before we get out of here, leading to massive amounts of speculation that Durant is planning to leave the Warriors after the season. But then Kevin Durant's brother did try and do a bit of damage control by saying this the very next day. Fill up your hands equals get more rings in Golden State. Get up out of here equals retirement. Stop reaching. That's what y'all gotta do for likes nowadays. Come on, there's better stuff to post. So we all know that Kevin Durant and Kevin Durant's management were like, yo, you gotta clean this up because you just spilled the beans. You can't be out here spilling the beans, because if you spill the beans, that's about to get me in trouble. Imagine what the Warriors and the Warriors players, the Warriors fans are gonna think of me if they find out that I'm already planning on packing in my bags after this season. So he had to backpedal and make it seem like he didn't say what he said when he actually said what he said, and he meant it too. Now though, Kevin Durant just admitted that this offseason is about to be all about the cheddar. And for Golden State, that's tough, because they gotta pay KD and they'd have to pay Klay Thompson too. That's real tough. So it's looking like KD might be out after this year. And I don't think anyone would be surprised if he did leave either, since we all know that KD went to Golden State to get his rings. He was scared of becoming one of the NBA great players that never got a championship ring. He's about to have 3 now, so he ain't worried about that no more. Also, remember that this next contract that Kevin Durant gets will most likely be his last contract. He wants the 5-year Supermax deal. Kevin Durant is already 30 years old right now, and then a couple of months ago, what did he say? He said by the time that he is 35, he'll be ready to call it quits in the NBA. 5 plus 30 equals 35. This is the last big deal of Kevin Durant's career. So it does make sense that he wants to get paid now. What happened to the Houston Rockets, man? What's going on in Houston? See, coming into the season, they were the team that was supposed to be the biggest threat to the Warriors this year after coming within 1 game of beating the Warriors last year. But 5 games into the season now, and they're 1-4 on the year. Their only win coming against the Lakers in a game that LA probably could have won had that fight not broken out. And so far this year, sure, you can say that the Rockets just haven't been fortunate. I'll give them that. Chris Paul gets suspended for 2 games. They lose both. And now James Harden is nursing a minor injury for the next 2 or 3 games. And they just lost their first game without him last night, once again to the LA Clippers, 133-113. So you could try to make the excuse that this team just hasn't had a healthy Chris Paul and James Harden on the floor together 3 of their first 5 games. And all 3 of those games are losses, so it's not that bad. But here's the thing though. Chris Paul and James Harden were alternating time on the sideline last year too. Chris Paul last year missed 24 games and James Harden missed 10, so that's 34 missed games between the two of those guys, and that's not even accounting for the handful of games that Clint Capella missed either. And they still went 65-17 on the year. They were almost unbeatable when all three of those guys played together, but even when they didn't have all three of those guys, they were still a really good team. That hasn't been the case so far this year. They've never looked this bad, and part of the reason for the regression has been because of their defense so far. Last year, the Rockets not only had the highest offensive rating in the NBA, but they were also one of the highest rated defensive teams in the NBA too. Last year, they never would have been a game where they let Montrezl Harrell drop 30 on them. No shots at Montrezl Harrell, but if he drops 30 on you, you're not playing any defense. So the Rockets, they do have a lot to figure out right now. Luckily for them, it's only 5 games into the season, so it's not quite time to panic just yet, but it is time to start being a little concerned here because they haven't played a single good game yet. Back to Kevin Durant though, one team that the media has been suggesting that are the favorites to land in this summer are of course the New York Knicks. The media wants to see Kevin Durant in New York, and I think that they might want to see it even more now, and I think Knicks fans probably want to see it even more now, as last night he did absolute work against the New York Knicks. Dropped 41 points, but it's not even just the fact that he dropped 41 points, it was how he dropped 41 points. See, in the last game, it was Curry who activated the human cheat code mode, and yesterday it was Kevin Durant, as in the fourth quarter, the man went berserk, dropping 25 points. Man, must be nice to be the Warriors and have 3 guys on your team who on any given quarter can catch fire and drop 20 plus and win you the game single-handedly. Oh, and by the way, DeMarcus Cousins was ejected for the first time this year when he wasn't even playing.
Well, one of the Warriors All-Stars just got thrown out. Unfortunately for the Knicks, it was the one that was in street clothes. DeMarcus Cousins, who's still rehabbing, coming back from Achilles, got into a heated argument with Scott Foster after the timeout was called. Watching it, and Cousins kept yelling at him. Foster finally had enough and threw him out.
That's pretty impressive. And the Milwaukee Bucks are still undefeated on the year. No crazy game for Giannis, Middleton, or really any one of the Bucks. It was just the Wolves were I don't know if bad is the word I'm looking for here, so I'm just going to put this as nicely as I possibly can. The Wolves look like the Toon Squad after they had their powers drained by the Monstars, except even worse than that. And even worse than that is they never got their powers back. Minnesota shot 32% from the field and 23% from 3 yesterday. Yep, 125-95, the final score. Speaking of undefeated teams though, the Pelicans are still undefeated on the year, even though they didn't play their best game of the year offensively. It was actually their worst game of the year offensively, but their opponents were the Nets, so I guess they didn't have to play their best basketball in order to win. I will say though, the ending of this game was just bizarre, as the Pelicans were down 1 with only seconds left to go, but they chose not to foul. They were playing for the steal or the turnover, and they got it. D'Angelo Russell just threw the ball out of bounds, and then next thing you know, Drew Holiday hits the game winner with a couple of seconds remaining. It was crazy. And the Raptors remain undefeated as well. And Kyle Lowry, this man Kyle Lowry has still been playing outside of his mind. Like, the level of efficiency that he's been playing with so far this season is unreal. Man barely misses and always finds the open man, and on top of that, doesn't turn the ball over like at all. He had 20 points to go along with 12 assists as Toronto gets the 116-107 win over Dallas. And the Washington Wizards continue to struggle, falling to 1-4 on the year after losing to the Sacramento Kings 116-112. After the game, Bradley Beal and John Wall were both ripping into the Wizards team for having, quote, their own selfish agendas and not putting the good of the team first. So it seems like all the chemistry and locker room problems that the Wizards have had in the past are still very much present. Meanwhile, for the Kings, they continue to play pretty solid basketball. De'Aaron Fox has been amazing so far this season. And the Charlotte Hornets were able to get the easiest win of their season so far, and probably that they'll ever get, against the Chicago Bulls last night, 135-106. Kemba Walker with 30 on the night. And that is going to lead us to today's player of the day, where you guys have the opportunity to vote for who you think was the best player from last night by clicking the little eye icon in the top right hand corner of the video. Just remember though, the only players whose team won are eligible to win player of the day. And yesterday, that player had to be Damian Lillard in his 41 points, 7 rebounds, and 6 assists. But that is gonna do it for today's video. Thank you once again for watching. You guys already know that you are the real MVPs, and make sure that you subscribe to the channel with post notifications turned on so you can stay up to date with everything that goes on in the NBA on a daily basis. But that being said, until tomorrow, I'm out of here. Peace!